Good evening, everyone, and a very, very happy and warm welcome to all our viewers who've joined us today worldwide for another session by the International Internship University on the much needed and much talked about National Education Policy 2020. Though we've been talking about it for quite some time right now, and still I feel there is a lot to be gained, a lot to be unearthed, and a lot to be understood. It's a epoch making a policy. It is something which is going to change the entire education landscape in India, and much needed. And that's why we consider it as a push in the right direction, as a step in the right direction. So the NEP 2020 has done something wonderful. It's brought the educators from across the world together and across India very much together to discuss how can we make a robust implementation of the national education policy. You see, it's one thing to have the policy, but it's another thing to be able to implement it in a very, very robust and for sure manner. And for this reason, the International Internship University has beautifully organized an NEP India webinar series. So welcome to day 3. And before we move ahead, let's just talk about the International Internship University, the wonderful platform that it has given to educators worldwide. So International Internship University is a leading virtual education system unheard of before 2020, right? And Global Brand Confederation, which is the most valued and trusted worldwide and well-reputed brand in delivering innovative programs. IIU is committed to providing highest quality of education to all the learners within the globe, regardless of the social or economic background. So IIU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses, mind you, and internships to the e-learners across the globe with the help of its committed, experienced, and high caliber global educators. So we will see, 3 of them on screen today as we get into a conversation in a little while from now. And in a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries. Isn't that amazing? In such a short span of time, and 6 continents, and it's still, it's still raging wide under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit, sir. So I think the gentleman deserves a hearty applause for this untiring efforts. Even today, he is tirelessly moving ahead with his crusade, with his vision at IIU, and a committed and inspiring social activist, a very passionate educator since the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. So thank you so much, Mr. Piyush Pandit, for all that you do. And he has publicized also the World Education Policy, which I believe is soon going to make its way in a big way across all the education platforms. We will talk about that a little later. So World Education Policy is all about one education, one foundation, and one world, which is the truth, in fact. So IIU has taken the initiative to reach every learner in rural as well as urban areas through the Vidyanjali project, an initiative by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, to provide higher education as well as vocational training along with internship opportunities. So indeed, that's why they call it IIU as a revolution in education. So coming back to our forum today, a wonderful forum where I have 3 hotshot, women educators. I don't think I need to introduce myself, but just a little bit, who am I and why am I over here? Because I'm also one among you, an educator with blessed to have more than 20 years of experience in the education trajectory, blessed to have been working with thousands of schools and principals and teachers and children and parents. Well, that is my claim to fame. And I love being with anything that is remotely associated with education. And my family always says that, the minute I graduated from college, I went back to school. So that's how it's been for me. And that I'm Dr. Manjeet Lega. And today we have with you three dynamic ladies. The first one who's going to be joining us is Ashwini. Ashwini Pansare. Let me tell you a bit about Ashwini before she takes on center stage and talks about the foundational literacy and numeracy aspect of the NEP. Now, Ashwini Pansare is the principal in Bal Seva English Medium School, Wakad, Pune, and Pune is in the state of Maharashtra. Her total experience in teaching field is 14 years plus. Wow, that's great, ma'am. And you've been in the administrative position for more than 5 years. You are a motivational speaker and an exemplary leader by all aspects. A hearty welcome, ma'am. You're a poet, a writer, an author. So very great to have you on board with us today. And today, we are going to be talking about foundational literacy and numeracy. FLN, as the educators tend to call it. So foundational literacy and numeracy, to all the viewers who are watching us, simply means the ability to be able to read and write alphabets and numbers, because the whole game begins from there. It is the root of all life skills. So if you are literate in alphabets and numbers, well, I presume that really helps in a child being emotionally literate and in grasping all aspects, all skills, all concepts later on in life. So that is the base. So if we pay attention to the foundation of a building, which is foundational literacy and numeracy, well, our children will definitely go a long way. So my question to you, Ashwini, is that what do you understand by foundational literacy and numeracy? Please tell us, how do you understand FLN? And what does the NEP or the National Education Policy say about foundational literacy and numeracy? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your lovely words of appreciation. First, I would like to thank you, IIU team, and our founder secretary, Mr. Piyush Panditji, sir. And thank you all. Especially, I want to thank Dr. Snigdha, ma'am, and Dr. Deepali, because as per their reference, I got information about IIU. So today, I really feel fruitful to share some views about NEP on global level. Thank you so much once again. See, FLN. FLN means Foundational Literacy and Numeracy. The basic definition of FLN is the ability to read and write and perform the basic operations with numbers. It's necessary foundation and indispensable prerequisite for all the future schooling and lifelong learning. However, as per the current observation, over 5 crore in number of students have not attained the foundational literacy and numeracy. So what is the reason behind this? Which are the key components? We simply know that the ability to read and write. But ability to read and write means exactly what? We know that in the foundational stage is completely interactive stage. Means in this stage, the student can grasp with the help of visualization. So now in visualization, they can grasp the number, then shape, size, the simple phonics words. Means when the teachers can teach us their phonics at the pre-primary stage, nursery, LKG and UKG. So they can develop the oral language. So this oral language development, which includes the vocabulary, listenings, comprehension skills, as well as after the foundation stage, during the preparatory stage, they can learn, they can discuss, they can share their views, they can interact with teachers. But in the foundational stage, family is the first pillar, because we know that when child learn to grow, and in the growing stage, family, teacher, peers and paraprofessionals, these are the 4 important pillars. So whatever the pre-number concepts, number sense, spatial understanding like shape, size, position. So these all the visualization and these all the information they are getting in the foundation stage. Okay. Ma'am, I want to share the PPT.
Yeah, please go ahead, Ashwini.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, we can see your PPT, ma'am.
Yes. Objective of foundational literacy and numeracy. Making learners competent in doing the meaningful reading and writing by the time they enter in the grade 3. So before the grade 3, they are in foundational stage. Means whatever the interactive session performed in the pre-primary education, they can easily grasp. So that's why in the foundational stage, the CBSE and Ministry of Education develop the pedagogy of early child care education in the age 3 to 8, then 8 to 11, then 11 to 14, and then 14 to 18. So this is the restructured school curriculum. Means 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 as per the National Education Policy. Developing the basic understanding and competencies related to numeracy and its related concept among young learners till the grade 2. So here in this grade, student can understand by observation of different kind of objects, different kind of colors. So children can approach the solution of each and every. Means in their mind, the different kind of questions are arises by different ways. So it's a different forms of perspectives. Developing skills among the learners to amalgamate their outside school experiences in their classroom, learning to attain the foundational literacy and numeracy in a better way. The highest priority of school education will be universal acquisition of foundational learning skill by grade 3. So children who fall behind, get left behind, grade 3 is the inflection point by which the children are expected to learn to read so that they can read to learn after that. So in this education system, the aims to achieve the foundational literacy and numeracy by 2026-27 and near about by 2030, all the Indian students make a victory of history, where by grade 3, every child can read with comprehension, writing, basic mathematical operations, and learn the basic life skills. Now see, what is the exact difference between literacy and numeracy? I already told you, ma'am. Foundational stage is completely interactive stage, and preparatory stage means student can learn, student can grasp, then they can create the question and they can share the question, they can discuss with their teachers. So in foundational literacy, the oral language development, decoding, reading fluency, reading comprehension, and writing. While in foundational numeracy, pre-number concepts, numbers and operations on numbers means now in this, firstly, they must know the numbers, how they can count. So before the number introduction, firstly, they can observe the different kind of things. So as per the fingers, with the help of fingers also, they can count the objects. And then the place value, then Indian number system, international number system, likewise. Shapes and spatial understanding. So in that also, different kind of sizes. Means in the foundational stage, they can learn standing, sleeping line, and different kind of shapes. With the help of teachers can show them fruits or different kinds of geometrical shapes with the help of compass box and all. Now next is the measurement and the next is data handling. numeracy and mathematical understanding. So here, visualization. Visualization means student can compare the different kind of things in their surroundings, because foundational literacy and numeracy is the national level program, and it's a 5-tier implementation. Means not only on the base of school level, but it 5-tier implementation means on the state level, on the district level, on the country level, on the school level, and on the city level. So this is nothing but the 5-tier implementation mechanism. So in the visualization, pre-number concepts means in the initial stage, in the foundational stage during pre-primary education, they understand the numbers with the help of counting. Then number sense means teacher can show them objects, whatever objects in classroom. Otherwise, teacher can prepare the different kind of charts. Otherwise, teacher can show them numbers randomly. Then they have to identify the different kind of numbers. So they will get the number sense in a proper way. Then in a visualization, the special understanding like space, size, and position. And next is the mathematical vocabulary. Because most of the students not even know up to the grade 3 that the spelling between 40, F-O-R-T-Y and F-O-U-R-T-Y. So this all kind of things, this all kind of vocabulary also they can visualize with the help of surrounding. See, national mission, that is objectives of the mission. Ministry of Human Resource Development, on priority basis, the all state and UT governments will immediately prepare an implementation plan for attaining the universal foundational literacy and numeracy in all primary schools, identifying the stage-wise targets and goals to be achieved by 2025. The program will be implemented in the mission mode with the use and strengthening of the existing mainstream structures. The Department of School Education and Literacy, the Ministry of Education will be the implementing agency at the national level and will be headed by a mission director. So we'll go with one by one. To ensure an inclusive classroom environment by incorporating play, discovery, activity-based pedagogies, linking to the daily life scenario or situations of the children, and format inclusion of children's home languages. The next is to enable children to become motivated, independent, and engaged readers and writers with comprehension, possessing sustainable reading and writing skills. To make a children understand the reasoning in the domains of number, measurement, and shapes, and enable them to become independent in problem solving by way of numeracy and spatial understanding skills. To ensure the availability and effective uses of high quality and culturally responsive teaching learning material in children's familiar or home or mother language. To focus on continuous capacity building of teachers. So continuous and consistent capacity building programs. Already CBSE providing. CBSE is continuously providing the teachers training on the basis of CBSE level. Even they can ask them to do the in-house training in school level. So with the help of that, teachers trained by the different kind of educational organization, different resource persons can guide them, and the education administrators too. To actively engage with all the stakeholders, that is teachers, parents, students, and community, the policy makers for building a strong foundation of lifelong learning. And to ensure the assessment as of and for learning through the portfolios, the group and collaborative work, the project work, different kind of quizzes, role plays, games, oral presentation, short test, etc. So nowadays, we are observing that with the help of art integration projects also. And art integration projects also mentioned as per the National Education Policy. So this is for grade pre-primary up to 10th, 12th standard to ensure the tracking of learning levels of all the students. So this is all about the national mission, which are the objectives of the mission. Now see, the ELPS approach means what? E stands for experience with physical objects. So student can observe the environment, their surroundings, and accordingly, they can grasp the different kind of information. L stands for spoken language that describe the experience with the help of communication with teachers. So the first main thing is that when the teachers vacancies will be filled at the earliest, so the time bound is the important criteria. And the local teachers, we can give a priority for local teachers. So student can understand the language and student-teacher wavelength can easily match. Pictures that represent the experience. So while looking towards the pictures, student can easily grasp. That's why we are focusing on the e-learning. And the S stand for written symbols that generalize the experience. So this is all about the ELPS approach. Implementation of universal FLN. And this is on the priority basis. Highest priority to universal FLN. So here the teamwork is mandatory. Not only the members of National Education Policy, but also I already told that FLN is a 5-tier implementation mechanism. So this overall phenomenon or overall implementation of universal FLN with the help of Ministry of Health and Research Development as well as NCERT, CBSE, different kind Ministry of Education. So setting up of national mission by MHRD. Then what about the plan in universal FLN by 2025 to be prepared by state level and under the UT governments. See, this is about the 5-tier implementation mechanism for our mission. Will be set up at the national, state, district, block, and school level. So this pyramid shows the implementation mechanism. How to implement the new education policy in state level, in cluster level, block level, in school level, in national level, and in district level. So this is all about the FLN. At the same time, we know that with the help of Diksha platform also, the teachers can train by the different kind of educational organization like CBSE, Ministry of Education. So the continuously and consistent professional development training for teachers is also required for implementation mechanism of FLN. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashwini Pansare, who's joined us all the way from Pune. Ma'am, you can stop screen sharing, please. And we will go back to our main screen, and we will continue discussing about foundational literacy and numeracy. And to reiterate what ma'am said, and just give her a few seconds to stop screen sharing, and I'm going to revise what she talked about. Key pertinent points that were put across by Ashwini Pansare were of the 5-tier policy to implement the FLN and also the ELPS approach. But more important than that, the basic, simple, fundamental principle that every educator must follow is, again, oral, verbalization. There is concrete experience and there is visualization technique, right? So go from, concrete to abstract for a child, from complex to simple nahi, from simple to complex, from known to unknown. So these are the fundamentals to be kept in mind while trying to implement the FLN whether we are a private school educator or a government school educator or a government aided school, whatever segment we may belong to, we have to carry forward each one of those 5 crore number of children who are listed in that category by 2030. And I think one of the beauties of this platform is the IIU is it's helping us get a perspective across a varied, diverse kind of educators all along. Some of them are teaching in hardcore rural areas. Some of them are leading schools in hardcore rural areas. Some of them are, leading in the private school institutions across metro cities. So it's really wonderful to have such a diverse opinion on this platform. Thank you so much, Ashwini, for joining us today. And our next speaker for the day is our gorgeous Vishakha Gupta, who is again joining us from the city of Pune. So Vishakha Gupta, wonderful educator, oh my God, with 24 years of experience. She says 24 plus. So wow, ma'am. And in teaching, in skill development and school administration and numerous reputed schools across the country. And currently she's working as a principal at Beacon High School and Junior College, Pune. That's so fantastic, ma'am. You're a certified CBSE resource person for capacity building and programs that trains teachers and principals, a collaborator of the Trinity College, London and Orient Black Swan. So you hold a certification as a master trainer for teacher training. Wow. And I could go on. And the last one over there, which says, to your credit, is you're a trainer for structure of intelligence and an international certified career coach from International Career Development Alliance of the USA. So welcome, ma'am. And I'm sure, we're going to gain from your expertise and your experience. So my question to you is that, tell us in brief about what do you understand what NEP talks about foundational literacy and numeracy, and more importantly, what changes do you foresee coming in the classroom due to the foundational literacy and numeracy program? Over to you, Vishakha.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Manjeet ma'am. My humble pranams to everyone and gratitude to IIU team. Special thanks to Mr. Piyush Pandit, the founder, Dr. Snigdha, and everyone, Team IIU, for inviting me over to this platform. Thank you so much. And I would like to summarize your first question about foundational literacy and numeracy in just maybe one quote that says, you cannot make people learn. You can provide the right conditions for learning to happen. And that is precisely what NEP 2020 targets at. So it targets at giving children from the basic roots and environment, a conducive environment to learn at their ease, learn at the comfort of their own language, their own environment, their own homes and schools, the Anganwadis, the schools, the playgroups, and making pre-education, understanding the importance of pre-education and bringing it under the ambit of the framework of education. Otherwise, pre-primary education never had a structured curriculum, which we will have now. So that answers your first part, and I would elaborate upon your second question that says, what kind of changes I see coming within the classrooms due to the FLN policy. And I would again start by saying that children have real understanding when they invent themselves. So I see a revamped curriculum. I see schools developing better curriculums to make students very comfortable and develop curiosity in them to learn. Because once this curiosity is developed, we set the roadmap for children to go on and tread that road and find success in life. Once you develop that curiosity, you would make the child lead on to the road of success and learning, because that is where they would start from. The curiosity would help them investigate and find out more. What I also see is a revamped curriculum with the introduction of contextual curriculum, that is the development of not a single curriculum, but multiple curriculums developed according to the needs of the children of different socio-economic and cultural backgrounds of the country. We can see children learning in their own mother tongue. We see them learning in their own environment, in their own cultural setups. So we would see a diversification in the curriculum pattern also, because every school, every state, every district would have to do it for their own levels. And as the 5-tier policy goes, we know that the involvement is from the grassroots level till the national level. Also, when I talk about this, I see a continuum in preschools and primary grade curriculum. Now here, I would like to explain the term continuum. The term continuum means a continuous sequence in which adjacent elements are not forcibly different from each other, but extremes are quite distinct. So I see a curriculum where there is integration of preschool curriculum with which acknowledges that these classes will have a tandem in the pre-primary and the primary subjects. So the level difference that we used to see between the pre-primary and the primary stage would reduce. And then there'll be a stepwise learning rather than see a gap or understand a major difference, where teachers of class 1 struggled to bring the children to a certain level because there we had a finite and a definite curriculum. What I also see is more space for children in the curriculum. When I say that, I mean very, very clearly that the physical, motor, psychological, social, emotional, intellectual development of the children take place, which will be witnessed because of attainment of FLM cannot be attained without ensuring sound physical, emotional, and social development. I think we will all vouch for it. Children will get an avenue to share their experiences, perspective, and ideas because it will be a very, very interactive classroom. And there'll be various ways in which they'll do it. Somebody will speak, somebody will write, somebody will draw, somebody would enact. We know the different kinds of learners, the work learning styles. Content will have flexibility. I see a flexible content which is delivered according to the learning styles of the children. It will be used in multiple, and it will have multiple learning outcomes. It will not be A for apple for everyone. It will be A for aeroplane for some. It will be A for antelope for some. So it will have flexibility. Children will learn at their pace, in their style, at their levels. Students would also get opportunity to engage with multiple resources like e-content and audiovisual programs as per learning levels, as per understanding, and as per the syllabus. Now, this is very important. When I learn at my pace is different from yours. And each child has a different pace. When we structure our curriculum in a way that each child is given the opportunity to learn in his or her style, the child will be ready to learn, more prepared to go ahead rather than say, okay, 10 chapters, finish it in 10 months, and that's it. Understand or not, understood or not understood is irrelevant. I have to complete my syllabus. With that kind of a structure coming in, I see a lot of learning and a lot of lifelong learning happening. Now, with the teachers using multiple pedagogical techniques, they'll be able to interlink aspects of FLN. When I say that, I mean that they will be able to make classrooms more enriching and interactive. Now, again, it will not be one-way communication. So the teacher is standing near the board, writing, chalk and talk, and the children are just copying it down. No, there'll be multiple ways and tools, and different interactive techniques will be used to gauge the child's understanding and to deliver the content. This will bring in change in classroom arrangement. So we know about the various classroom arrangement, the benches, we all, are leading schools and we were teachers at one point of time. And with that changed arrangement, there'll be fun, there'll be interaction, and there'll be, enriching content which will be delivered because we will have a variety and children love variety. It will raise their interest levels. Also, what I see coming is children will get space for exploration, experience, and elaboration. So the 3 E's that are going to happen in class are exploration, experience, and elaboration. And the pedagogical needs of the child will be taken care of through these. Again, it will develop an environment to facilitate the learning and the lifelong learners will be created. I also foresee better trained teachers, because that will be the need of the hour. All teachers will have to be better trained of how to conduct the activities in class, how to take up teaching in class, because once that happens, the teacher knows how the class has to be directed, how the experience, elaboration, and exploration has to take place, how the individual needs of the children be taken care of. Also, the classes will be seen to have multiple assessment tests according to the socio-cultural, economic, geographical, and linguistic demands of the area. So all these 4 things, I repeat: socio-cultural, economic, geographical, and linguistic demands. When we keep these in mind and we take care of the needs of the child, I'm sure our classes will be beautiful and there'll be great learning. There'll be a variety in assessment techniques, and which will lead to the attainment of learning outcomes. The most important thing that the NEP talks about is that the child has to learn, retain, and carry it forward. And which is why these techniques are being introduced. Otherwise, we were going ahead with teaching. There was teaching happening, but then there was a need seen to introduce the new NEP, because we could see people just mugging up things, putting it down on paper, but when they had to actually and practically use in life, possibly they were never able to recount it. Which is why we need people who, experientially learn, and then this learning is carried forward with them throughout their life. Also, you must be saying, ma'am, you're seeing a lot of things, but yes, I do see these. I do perceive all these things coming along with the NEP. The classrooms will witness healthier children, because I'm talking about, government schools. I perceive healthier children, because good quality breakfast and midday meals are being promised by the new NEP. Also, I see regular checkups and medication that will ensure the good health that the children move ahead with. I see classrooms witnessing community participation. Now, this is very important. Schools will no longer remain individual units. They will foresee the participation of the community. Now, when I say the community, I mean parents, I mean teachers, I mean children, I mean the society, I mean the neighborhood. And when everybody joins hands together and realizes that the new generation has to be taken forward, because they are the baton holders of the future. And when everybody participates and gives in their bit, yes, we will see facilitation of achievement of the foundational literacy and numeracy. Now, there are a few requirements which are mandatory if we want to go ahead with these. Now, what are these? The 5-fold strategic plan is required, and Ashwini ma'am has already spoken about it. Now, this needs the support of the local and the state central government. We also need capacity development programs to train our teachers and resource persons to construct units, to have plans, to have elements to train our children and train our teachers to train the children and take this program forward. We also need to have the understanding, the contesting, and the demand validation of the roadmap. Because if we just accept it, no, we need to check it, we need to contest it, we need to understand it, and we need to have our demands of how to improve it further. So finally, a platform has to be developed where various stakeholders, state governments, teachers, parents, children, heads of school, community members, etc., as I've already said, share views and experience to develop a rich pool of information for attainment of foundational literacy and numeracy. And our classrooms would become temples of learning for all our future generations. With that, I rest my answer to your question. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vishakha Gupta ma'am, spoken like a true seasoned academician. I could see oodles of experience oozing out in every word that, you were saying. And I loved some of those. I ran out of paper trying to jot down the key points being espoused by you. But I loved some of them, which I think will benefit every educator who's tuning into this program today. First was the CQ, or the curiosity quotient, you raise the curiosity in children, you can see the world change. I love that. Secondly, FLN will see, one size does not fit all. So we will have to be very, very mindful of the economic, the social, the cultural backgrounds and the needs of a people. And as they learn, so shall we teach. And especially with regards to FLN, so that will see a difference in the approach of the teachers, not only in strategy, but also in assessment techniques. So wonderful. And then you said, of course, we will have interactive classrooms because we will have interactive children, right? So that is going to happen, and the classrooms are going to be even more fun. I already see a lot of teachers putting in their best in trying to make such wonderful, creative, interactive classrooms. But now I think it's going to be like with a focus, So that is going to definitely happen. Classrooms are going to look different. Teachers are going to think beyond, a desk, chair. They're going to think differently. They're going to think innovatively. And to sum it all up, as you said, that, once you raise the curiosity in the child, by default, the teacher will have to rise to the occasion. She will have to match up to the curiosity level, to the inquisitive level, to the creative level that will be displayed by our children. So FLN is not only going to enrich our children, it is definitely going to enrich our teachers too. They're going to make all the effort to grasp whatever is possible. And one such means is to, grasp from the gurus in the field. Why not have it from those who've experienced, who've been there and done that all. So thank you so much for sharing your wonderful thoughts with us, Vishakha ma'am. Indebted to you for that. So now we move on to another wonderful speaker who's joining us right now in a few seconds. She's none other than Dr. Shivani Sani from my city, which is Delhi. And let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Shivani. She's an educator by profession, a learner by mind, and empathetic by heart. What a wonderful introduction. So passionately working towards building 21st century skills in students and training them to be humble, responsible, and mindful. So Dr. Shivani is a global life skills ambassador and thought leader with various organizations working in the field of education. She's a veteran in starting up schools such as GD Goenka Public, the Presidium, the Dolphin, POD are a few to name. Wow. So she is presently heading the HRM Global School in Pitampura, that is West Delhi. And in a free time, I wonder if you have free time, ma'am, but she still manages to pen down her thoughts and experiences in the form of quotes, short poems, and blogs by a pen name, which is Sentiment Shivani on Instagram, Your Quote, and WordPress. So that is so very wonderful to have you here, ma'am, and your range of experience and expertise. Please help us in understanding. How do you think, we've heard about from our earlier two speakers, what is FLN all about? How is it going to change the landscape in the classroom? So, there is a lot that will be demanded from the teachers. So how do you think we can make it for our warriors on ground, our champions, our soldiers on ground, which is our teachers? So over to you, Dr. Shivani.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Manjeet. Before that, I take on would explain these things. I would really like to say that I'm humbled with the kind words that you have spoken for me. And of course, gratitude towards Piyush Panditji as well as Dr. Snigdha, who got me here, given me this platform. I would also like to thank Ms. Ashwani and Ms. Vishakha for setting the tone for me, because they've made my work so very simple. So as Ms. Vishakha mentioned about how the teacher's capacity building is required, I would say yes, of course, there is a requirement of capacity building. However, there's a lot that is required in terms of thinking. So there are a lot of resources already available. Not necessarily that the capacity building would only enhance that. There is a lot that is available, as Ms. Ashwani mentioned about the platform Diksha. Nipun Bharat is yet another document that very, very, remarkably shares the entire core of the NEP. So I think before that, the schools, of course, as the time is available to the school management and to the capacity building teams of CBSE, who would keep doing these training sessions for teachers. These are all online material that are available, but which I would definitely urge all the teachers to read through in their free time, because that is definitely going to help them. I would like my screen to be shared so that I can just show through the PPT how the classrooms can be made interactive. I'm going to be talking about numeracy for an example. I would definitely want my the session to be interactive. So please, all three of you here available, feel like a student today, a young child, and participate with me.
Sure, ma'am. We'll be sure to do that.
I'm sure it'll be great fun.
Okay.
All right. So if I can share my screen, please.
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Yes. Give me a second.
Sure. So to all the viewers who are watching us, on talk about foundational literacy and numeracy, please feel free to share your thoughts as and when they come along, any queries on the chat window. And if you're watching us on FB Live, please go ahead and share your comments. Yes, we see that. Work hard and dream big.
And that's my daughter's laptop, actually.
Lovely. Yes, ma'am, we can see your presentation.
So I'll go on to the slideshow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be talking about foundational literacy and numeracy, the numeracy part. There would, of course, be a little bit of literacy, because I believe that these are two inseparable things, the literacy and the numeracy. And I'm going to go through a story. So a story of three tortoises, where the three characters are Sherry tortoise, that's the baby tortoise, the mama tortoise, and the papa tortoise. So it's the season, it's winter time, and during the winter time, the mama tortoise and the papa tortoise are all set to go for a sleep now. And mama tortoise tells Sherry tortoise, "Come and let's get ready to sleep." Sherry is like, "Why do we have to sleep, mama?" And mama says, "Sherry, it's winter time, and winter time is there for us to sleep. We have had enough food now. Let's go to sleep." And Sherry is very curious. Why is it that mama always tells me in winters to sleep? So, okay, he is waiting and waiting and waiting for mama and papa to go on to sleep. So once mama and papa tortoise goes off to sleep, Sherry very calmly opens the door and moves out. And the moment Sherry moves out, Sherry sees that there's all snow outside. Sherry sees a duck there. And the duck asks Sherry, looking at tortoise, "What's the tortoise doing outside in this winter snowy weather?" "Oh, this is so very ridiculous, isn't it? Really? Am I seeing the tortoise?" And the tortoise, and Sherry says, "Yes, I'm out and I'm here to enjoy." And he moves on. And then he sees a dog. The dog barks towards Sherry and says, "Really? You are out in this winter season?" And Sherry says, "Yes, what's wrong in it? I'm here to enjoy as you are." He moves ahead and sees a cat who says, "Oh, really? I'm seeing the tortoise out of his house." The tortoise is not sleeping, and Sherry keeps moving on, forgetting who he is seeing. Sherry climbs up the hill and he sees Birdie there. The birdie asks, "How are you going to get the warmth? Can you go? Do you have the feathers to fly and go inside the nest and can take a rest?" And Sherry by this time is all tired and wants to come back home. So Sherry keeps coming down the hill and slowly and gradually keeps walking towards the house. Now, by the time Sherry returns back home, the door is covered with the snow and it is all covered. Sherry can't open the door and he's sad about it. Then Sherry thinks, oh, I have a hard shell. Using my hard shell, I can break the snow. And he starts doing tuck, 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 tuck. And he is able to break that snow and gets into his house and sees that Mama and Papa Tortoise are still sleeping. So he gets there inside his bed and goes off to sleep. So now when the teacher completes this story, after this story, the teacher can start asking the questions. Before that, the teacher can make the students in a group of 5, because here we have 5 characters. So now that the students are sitting in a group of 5, the teachers can ask the students to name the characters who all were there in the story. So what is happening? The characters are, the students will start telling, the characters are the tortoise, the duck, the dog, the cat, and the birdie, right? So there are these 5 characters. So what is happening? Can somebody tell me what was happening when these characters were given in the line? I mean, like one after the other.
Memory, sequencing.
Absolutely. So that was sequencing. Okay. So now we gave the flashcards. The teacher can give the flashcards to each group. So there is a collaborative activity that is happening. And the students are asked to align these flashcards as per the sequence and give them their numbering, their positioning. So the students do that like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. What's that?
Numeracy.
Ordinal numbers. All right. And then the teacher can give them, give the students 5 dices, and they can, according to their positions, as their ordinal numbers were there. So they have, the students are to put the dice, the dots on the dice according to the position, you know. So that's again memorization and sequencing and also patterning. So that's what is happening. And as Ashwani ji had mentioned about data handling there, so then this chart can be given to the students and they can be asked, okay, which character was liked most by the students, right? So say, for example, in that group, I say that I like the tortoise the most. So I'm supposed to mark a dot for tortoise. Manjeet ma'am, what do you like the most? Which character?
I love Sherry because I love the name Sherry. And
okay,
I love
so tortoise has 2 votes. Ms. Vishakha, what's your vote for?
I love the puppy.
The puppy. Okay, so puppy gets 1. Ashwani ji. Your mic is muted.
I love
so
cat. Cat, ma'am.
Cat. Okay, so cat also gets 1. So here we have 2 votes for tortoise, 1 for cat, and 1 for the puppy. So what's this? Data handling?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's so very simple. It's all that we have to give it a thought. How do we need to create? So one story creating multiple concepts of numeracy, you know. So that's where I would like to rest, that it's all about how creative, besides the students being curious, how creative our teachers can be. And it's so very simple to build in the skills of literacy as well as numeracy in any class. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Shivani, for, you know, perking up our neurons and our synapses with this wonderful activity that you conducted, and which, you know, delved right into the heart of how to handle FLN within the classroom, and how to make it come alive, how to bring it into practice. It is there in policy, but how are our teachers and educators going to bring it into practice? It reminds me of a saying which I also often use with my teachers, which is that, whenever you introduce anything to your students, be it history, geography, or even if it is, numbers and letters, they'll say introduce karo, introduce it from the heart. Let them feel that connect with the heart rather than just with the brain. When we were growing up, we were all rote learning, A for apple. And if I said A for antelope, I would get a thappad, I'd just get a slap. So now you're giving them so much of liberty, of creativity. No wonder their minds are going to open, And as they say, minds are absolutely like parachutes. They function only when opened. So thank you so much for giving us an insight, Dr. Shivani, which I can see very clearly that it is born out of your experiences on the ground as well, as a teacher as well as a manager. By manager, I mean, managing the entire curriculum affairs and, teachers as such. Because both sides of the coin are very, very important. I feel that a good educator really needs to dust their hands, to get them dirty on ground while being a teacher and learning how to cope up with 30, 40 sweaty kids, crying kids, angry kids, curious kids, running out of the class kids, 100 question kids, all asking open-ended questions. Ye kya hai? What do we do? Why do you say that? Etc. So that is the whole beauty of, nurturing souls in foundational literacy and numeracy. And I think we'll sum it up, beautifully by, I'll request each one of you to give me just one-liner, as a passing shot as we conclude the session today, is that what is your golden advice? What is your one mantra to our teachers who are there dealing with foundational literacy and numeracy with our children? So I will start with Ashwini. Can you give us your one golden mantra?
Okay, ma'am.
One sentence, please. So maybe Vishakha ma'am, you can go first and we will come back to Ashwini ma'am.
Sure, Manjeet ma'am. Thank you so much for calling me all over again to speak. And it was wonderful hearing to Ashwini ma'am, Shivani ma'am, and your moderation. Hats off. Wonderful it was. My one-liner would be, the work of education is divided between the teacher and the environment created by the teacher, and the task is done.
Wow, that is so fantastic, because the teacher's influence, maybe that's why they say that the teacher's influence extends to eternity. She influences everything that she touches. So teachers out there, please touch your environment with your chuspa, with your creativity, with your energy and your vivaciousness. Lovely. Dr. Shivani, your golden mantra, please.
Yeah, so to carry this forward, the same thing I would say, 2 words, Chintan Karo.
Okay. So Chintan meaning to go inward?
Yes, actually, to see, as Vishakha ma'am just mentioned about the environment. So a lot is available in the environment. It is one who has to pick from the environment. So that is where it is to be, to be wisely thoughtful, mindful about using the resources. So chintan karo aur usko use karo.
Oh, lovely. That's a lovely one. And I'm sure all of us are going to reinforce that, there is such a vast amount of resources around us. We have to be mindful, learn how to use them, focus, and then just go all out over there.
Why I mentioned this, Manjeet ji, is because, over these years, while I've been interviewing so many teachers to fill up the vacancies that I get, when I ask about the theories, how practically are those being implemented by you in the classroom, it gives pain. Teachers, one, they don't remember those theories like given by Piaget, Vygotsky, all of that. Two, even if they remember, they just remember it like that of theory, and they say that it can't be practically utilized in the classrooms, which is so very wrong. Everything is practically possible in the classroom. It's just that they don't really open those eyes and are not thoughtful of picking up those objects which are there in the environment. And that's why I said Chintan.
I would like to add, if permitted, Manjeet.
Yes. Please, Vishakha.
Yeah, thank you so much. I would just like to add to what Shivani ji said, and it was so beautifully put by her, that education is a passport, and it's a passport to the future. So we need to understand that tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. So if my teachers, if the entire teaching fraternity has to prepare our children for tomorrow, they have to prepare today to hand over that passport to these children.
Wonderful, wonderful. We have to hand over the passport to our children because, you know, it reminds me of another saying that to be in our children's lives tomorrow, we have to be in their lives today. So let's go all heart, mind, soul into their lives today and help them out. And we will have the concluding remark from our dear Ashwini, all the way from Pune. Yes, Ashwini, your golden mantra.
We do good things, hard things, things that matter. Because teachers have that power. They can do silly things under different kind of difficult circumstances in challenging time. So just Vishakha ma'am already told that creative and happy classroom is very important. Then only students can love a teachers, because students are the good judge of teachers.
Wonderful. So what you mean to say is that, Ashwini, that every teacher should take time out for herself. Look after yourself first, right? An empty vessel can make no sound. An unhappy teacher can never have a happy classroom. Be happy yourself, be joyful yourself. Every session that you attend, every little bit of learning that you take in joyfully, you know. From this session, even if you take away 1 point or 2 points, but, you know, one that stays with you out of joy of learning, you know, that is what is going to help you in your strategies, in your dealing with your children. So follow your heart, our dear educators and teachers. Whether you are a classroom teacher, a subject teacher, a coordinator, a principal, a head, or a manager, whatever you are, you know, it's very, very important to follow your heart and form the connect with your subject. And your subject could be children, could be teachers, could be the policy, could be policy making. So follow that connection, and I'm sure we are going to put, you know, everything into good practice. And if we just kind of imbibe 25% of what we've kind of talked about over here, NEP FLN 2030 roadmap is definitely looking like a reality. And the beautiful part is that all educators from across the globe are joining hands, from across India are joining hands and helping each other. And there's so much of talk about it that I'm sure it's going to fructify very, very soon and going to bear good results. Happy India, progressive India, more power to each one of us. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It was so wonderful to have Ashwini, Vishakha, and Dr. Shivani, and all the wonderful viewers who joined in and have tuned in through FB Live. Thank you so much for being part of our journey. Do share your views with us. Thank you so much to the International Internship University for such a wonderful platform of engaging minds, you know, across such a robust topic. And thank you so much, Piyush Pandit ji, for taking this initiative of pushing us all together, you know, like-minded people together on a common platform, which is for sure going to benefit all of us. We're going to leave us richer one way or the other. So thank you so much for joining us today. All our viewers, love you all. Take care, take good care of yourself, because you need to take very good care of children under you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day and happy Friendship Day to you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, happy Friendship Day to you all.
Thank you. Lovely knowing all of you, and we will definitely stay connected.
Sure, we will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.